Yeah. Hi everyone, and this is Robin, and welcome to my main channel. And this is different from my other one because on this one I'm gonna do more challenge videos and stuff like that, rather than vlogs. And for this video, my first one, I was thinking you don't know much about what movies I watch, so I'm gonna do my 15 favourite live action movies, because it's really hard to choose for actual full-on movies. So I'm going to do separate videos for my animated, my Disney, stuff like that. But this one's focusing on live action, and I'll also do a different one for live action Disney. Moving on, so this is 15 live action movies that I like. So number 15 is We Bought a Zoo, which has Scarlett Johansson and Matt Damon in it. In this one, Benjamin Mee, who's played by Matt Damon, he's lost his wife and he wants to move house, and he ends up buying a zoo. There's actually really funny scenes in this, as well as quite sad ones. So yeah, by the end the zoo is successful, and it's also based on a true story. If you haven't seen this film, you really should, as well as any of the other films I'm going to show you throughout this video. If you haven't seen them, I recommend that you watch them to see what you think of them. It's okay if you don't like them, because I'm not going to judge you on that. Number 14 is quite funny because I'm scared of spiders, but I really like the movie Charlotte's Web, based on the book by E.B. White. So this one, well, during it I don't actually look at Charlotte at all because I'm scared of spiders, but Charlotte's Web is about a pig that wants to see snow at the end. Because he was born in the spring, he wanted to see the snow, and he was the run of the litter, but he actually ends up surviving, thanks to the help of Charlotte, who's a little spider, and also some of the other farm animals. It's quite a sad movie, but also really happy movie. And yeah, if you haven't read the book, you should as well. But also the film's really good as well. So yeah. Number 13 is different from the other ones, and this is Dear John. That's got Amanda Seyfried and Channing Tatum in it. This is a romance movie, but I think it's really good because I like different types of genres. So it's about a girl called Savannah, who's a student, and John, who's from the armed forces, and basically they're a couple, but yeah, he has to go away to obviously fight because he was on leave for a little bit, but he had to go back, and they write to each other, and then soon they stop writing to each other and they fall apart, and basically they want to love each other again, but they don't. But in the end they stay friends, which is a good thing. But it's a really beautiful movie, and I actually cried at one point because of a sad moment. But if you like Amanda Seyfried or Channing Tatum, I recommend you watch this. And if you like romance movies or movies that has war in it or just fancy it, then that's fine. Moving on to number 12 is a funny movie, and that's Cheaper by the Dozen with Steve Martin in it. So basically, Steve Martin's character's wife is a writer, and she's writing a book called Cheaper by the Dozen, which is about her family, because she has 10 kids, and they moved house, and basically his dad has to look after the children, and it's really funny because they are basically carrying on all the time, and then it gets to a sad moment, but all in all it's really funny, and I think you should watch this one if you already haven't. Number 11, I like both of these versions, and that's the Karate Kid movies, one with Jackie Chan and Jaden Smith in it, which is this one here, which is the newer one. But I also really like this one that's got Ralph Macchino and Pat Morita in it. And basically in this one, both characters, the main characters, move abroad and they're trying to fit in, but they end up getting beat up, but also they really like karate, and basically they want to stop being bullied, so they get taught karate in it, and in the end they win a big competition and they stop getting bullied. It's really good because it's like quite actiony but not too much, and also it's got like really deep storylines in them, and I can't choose between these two because I love both of them. I like Daniel from this one and Mr. Miyagi, obviously, because Mr. Miyagi is really funny. You should watch that one. And this one's like the older version, but the remake's also really good. That's got Dre and Mr. Han in it. And it's really good because they end up making friends and also defending themselves from being bullied further, which is really good. So I recommend you watch The Karate Kid if you haven't already and you like any of these actors. Number 10 is another Amanda Seyfried film, and that is Red Riding Hood. This is quite a thrillery movie. It's not scary, but it at some points it gives you that feeling that you get in a movie that's got scary moments in it. It's also got Gary Oldman in it, which is really good. And basically in this film, a werewolf comes and attacks the little village that they live in, and they want to find out who it is before the blood moon. And basically Gary Oldman plays the witch hunter, the wolf hunter in it, and in the end you find out who the wolf is, but yeah, I don't want to spoil it for you because I don't want to spoil any of the movies, but in the end this is a really good film because yeah, it's got good actors in it, and also the storyline is really good as well, and it's the director of Twilight, but still I think it's a good movie, and if you haven't seen it, again, go see this movie. The next one, number 9, is quite historic but also quite sad at the same time, and that's The Book Thief. And basically in this movie, the little girl who's called Liesel moves away because she lives in Nazi Germany and she has to be separated from her mum and move to a different family. She can't read or write, and her new father in it helps her to learn to read, as well as holding their friend captive. Well, not captive, like they're keeping him in the house to help him because he's a Jew. But basically she learns to read and write in it, and she borrows books from someone's house. This really nice lady is letting her borrow these books. And then some sad things happen in it as well, but she survives it, which is really good. So yeah, and this one's also based off of a book as well, which is really good. Number 8 is also quite historic because it's set in the French Revolution, and also it's from a musical as well, and that is Les Mis, Les Miserables, or The Miserable People. And basically, this is a really good film because it's based off of a really successful musical, and also it's got really good actors in it like Hugh Jackman, Russell Crowe, Amanda Seyfried, Eddie Redmayne, and Anne Hathaway, and many other successful actors as well. Basically in this one they're just trying to survive, and some people are fighting for the French Revolution, and there's a man who was a villain just because he sold the bread, and he was taken to prison, and then he ended up becoming really successful and helping this little girl here who's called Cosette, and she ends up being like a daughter to him, and after that, when she's grown up, she falls in love, and basically another girl who called Epamine, she falls in love with the same guy, but the guy loves Cosette, and yeah, it's just really good. It's sad but also really lovely, and the music is beautiful as well, so if you haven't seen this one. Right, number 7 is Mrs. Doubtfire, and this is also one of my favourites because it's really funny, and it's got Robin Williams in it. Sadly he died though, but he was such an amazing actor, and I would say this is like one of his absolute best movies ever. And in this one he plays a dad that separates from his wife, and basically he wants to look after his 3 children down here. Let's look after his 3 children, but the wife won't let him as the dad, so he basically disguises himself as a lady, Mrs. Doubtfire, to help these children. And it's really funny because of when he's playing Mrs. Doubtfire, he basically has problems at the beginning, and all in all, Robin Williams is basically just a really funny guy at the end of the day, and it's an absolute brilliant film. I really enjoy that one. Moving on, number 6 is The Lost Boys, and this is another amazing film. This one is also a thriller slash horror movie, but it's not that scary, and this is about vampires and a boy called Michael who, hi Jess, my cat, Jess. So basically it's about a boy who meets these people who he kind of thought was sort of like a gang in a way, and they ended up being vampires, and his brother helps him when he becomes sort of like kind of vampire but not a full vampire, and he doesn't want to be. So his brother with these 2 other boys that are basically vampire hunters, they basically help get Michael out of being a vampire. So I recommend this movie as well because it's absolutely amazing, and the soundtrack to this movie is amazing, amazing. It's absolutely lovely, and I just love the music in this and also the movie. Next is a childhood favourite of mine, and my number 5 is Peter Pan with Jason Isaac, Rachel Hurd-Wood and Jeremy Sumpter. This is basically one of my absolute favourites from when I was a child, and all in all it's basically the story of Peter Pan but in movie form. I love this because it just makes me smile every time I watch it, and I love the actors in it, and I just think it's an absolute amazing way of telling the story of Peter Pan, even though it's quite an old film, but it still never ever stops me from loving this. And there's absolutely beautiful scenes in this movie, like the fairy dance scene is amazing, and there's actually a really sad moment in it for me. Me personally, I find it really sad, and that's when it's during the fight between Captain Hook and Peter, and he basically really hurts Peter, and then he makes Peter feel that Wendy doesn't actually love him when she does, but Wendy wants to grow up, and Peter is sad and he doesn't want her to go, but Captain Hook manipulates that, kind of makes it seem that Wendy doesn't actually want to stay with Peter because she doesn't like him. Wendy, Jess is being funny, and Wendy basically proves that she does care for him, and yeah, I love this movie to pieces. It's one of my favourites, that's why it's in my top 5. Number 4 is a movie that has Kristen Stewart and Chris Hemsworth in it, and that's Snow White and the Huntsman. I love this movie because it's a different version of Snow White in a way, and it's making her seem like really strong in it and a natural born leader. And the Huntsman in it, played by Chris Hemsworth, he is really, really caring. He lost his wife, and basically he helps Snow White all the way through this wood to get help because of the evil queen, who's played by Charlize Theron. And basically she is like a more different version of the evil queen, but I love this because it's more action packed with all the fights, and at the same time it's really nice because of all like some of the more heartfelt moments, like with the dwarfs and all the mythical creatures basically. But I really love this one because it's more action packed, as I said, and also I think that the actors that played these characters really played them well, especially Chris Hemsworth's character, the Huntsman. He won it for me. He made this movie one of my favourites. Moving on, number 2, it's like the series of films, but I've not got the first one yet, but I'm going to get the first one. I've seen it, and that's the Divergent series. This one is Insurgent, but in the Divergent series I really like them. So basically Trish is different from all the others because she doesn't fit into one faction, which makes her a Divergent. And basically, Kate Winslet's character Janine wants to get rid of the Divergents because she thinks they're to blame for everything. They're the problem with the world that they're in, that's hidden beneath a wall, basically. They're kept inside this one little area, and they think that the world around them is absolutely destroyed, there's nothing left. But basically, Triss is fighting to prove all this wrong. She wants to make everyone think that the Divergents aren't a problem, it's just Janine is a horrible leader. So she fights to get all this problem sorted, and in Insurgent you'll see that she's actually winning this battle. She was winning from the beginning and anyway. And yeah, Shailene Woodley's in it, and so is Theo James, because Theo James plays 4, which is this character here, and that's Shailene Woodley, and she plays Triss. Basically, it's like the Hunger Games in a way, but not Hunger Games in a way. I like both Hunger Games and Divergent, but I would say that I prefer Divergent more, even though I really do actually like the Hunger Games as well. Now for the difficult bit, my number 1 and my number 2. But number 2 is Romeo and Juliet, the Shakespeare play, but it's the version with Leonardo DiCaprio and Claire Danes. Basically, I love this one because Leonardo DiCaprio, and 2, I really love the storyline. It's very powerful emotionally, and I think that they tell the story absolutely amazingly, and based off the classic, and words can't describe how much I love this film. The same as my next one. Words can't describe my next one. So yeah, Romeo and Juliet is my number 2. People either love this movie or hate this movie, and I love it. My number 1. Wait for it. Harry Potter. I love Harry Potter, and this is because the movies are like action packed, just like the books are. I haven't read all the books yet. I'm gonna borrow them off my mum. But Harry Potter, it's thrilling, magical, and characters play by the actors. They just fit perfectly. And basically, where have you been if you've not seen these movies? Because honestly, who hasn't seen these movies? Sorry if you haven't, but you haven't lived till you've seen Harry Potter movies. Honestly, you've been living under a rock. You've not lived. Because Harry Potter is just really lovable. It draws you in. It makes you want to live in this world, honestly. You're all muggles if you haven't seen this movie, honestly. I'm a Ravenclaw, so like you've seen in my vlogs, if you have seen my vlogs, I've been to the Harry Potter studio, and this summer, at some point, I don't know when yet, I'm actually going to the castle where they shot most of the Philosopher's Stone, which is the first book and movie. So yeah, thank you everyone for watching this video, and if you haven't seen any of these movies, feel free to go and watch them because they're all amazing. You don't have to if you don't want to. And also, if any of them have books, feel free to go and watch them as well. I definitely recommend them, especially the Harry Potter books. And thank you for watching this video again, and don't forget to like, comment and subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate you if you do, and I'll see you again soon. Bye!